Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, I have appeared before few times to tell the world what is happening in America. Last night, that is on 27th June, you saw the debate between President Biden and ex-President Donald Trump. I was shocked to find President Biden is nearly collapsing. Every media had a very poor opinion about him, how he fumbled, how he was not even able to speak aloud. Okay, there was such a serious criticism in the press and the media still going on as I speak to you today, 29th June 2024. I'm not well. I'm going to be 85. I have nothing, no ill feeling against any political party. The government, the theory is that form of government who represent the public, the people. That's the best form of government. Now, I was, as perhaps you are told earlier, I was a registered Democrat. When President Reagan came to office, I had got my US citizenship. I was born in India. I went to high school in Trichy, a place called St. Joseph's High School. I went and studied for my bachelor's in Delhi. I went undergone 2.5 years towards an LLB. I also happened to work for the retired Chief Justice, Dr. Teja Singh, at his residence. But he was during the British time. I'm giving you a brief history. And afterwards, I got married. I went to England. I worked there for Her Majesty's government for nearly 7 years. I used to work at a place called Trafalgar Square, which was close to the Buckingham Palace. I worked at several other places for the British Post Office. After having had 3 lovely daughters, we moved to America. I was living in America until 2012. So my last job was as a director of Brunswick Hospital Center in Amityville, New York. Prior to that, upon my arrival from United Kingdom, I came to work for a company called Michigan Bell Telephone Company, which was one of the largest Bell system companies. AT&T, the parent company, had 22 subsidiaries, and they were the monopolist in the United States of America. There was no competitor. So they could raise the price, give you the worst product, and when competitors came, they want to cut the price to eliminate the competitors. Once the competitors are out, they kept raising the price. This is the monopolist tactics. US Department of Justice was wanting to break down these companies. It is at the time I came to join Michigan Bell Telephone Company. If I repeated, maybe my retention of my memory, my computer is overflowing, so forgive me. I'm trying to say things I've gone through 44 years now, 44 years. How these companies cheated me literally. Under the scheme, when I went to work for Michigan Bell, I was working for a manager by the name Jack Temple. He used to watch all of us who goes what time for the coffee break, tea break, lunch break. I am the only one who left 10 o'clock for my 15 minutes tea break, because we start like 8 in the morning. Whether it's a shine, sun, snow, rain, doesn't matter. You have to be punctual. You can't say like we have in India, every day, holiday or sick leave, you name it. I'm not envious. To cut the long story short, this man found me overqualified. I was recommended to work for a person by the name David Bards. He only wants young girls, traditional females. At that time, this company had as many as 600 females, traditional females, working for this company. They have got branches within the state, so many different places. Detroit is one of the major cities, and every car company in the world, they produce their cars there, everyone. I don't know, since then there are a lot of companies have come into being, and I don't want to go into. So my concern was, I was sent to work for this guy, he doesn't want me, and after he was told by the EEO within the company that he cannot discriminate me, he hired me. After working for this guy for 4 or 5 days, he found me unfit for his purpose. You have to assume, you have to understand what his purpose was, having a secretary. The requirement for a secretary at that time was 10th grade. They should know a little bit of typing. That's the only thing. They should be good looking, presentable. So I didn't meet his requirements, although I was at the time, I believe, 31. Yes, 31. And 40, 60, I think I'm around 30, 31 at that time. I complained to the EEOC, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, who came and investigated, found the company, the MBT, and David Bards guilty of discrimination. They were ordered to reinstate me and pay me a nominal compensation. I don't want to go into the whole thing. The bottom line is, when I was working, I was run into additional discrimination based on retaliation. I passed every test administered for 3 full days. I got full score, perfect score. The company again retaliated. So I was forced to file a second retaliation complaint, and while the investigation started, they offered me a job to work for their parent company, AT&T, in Florida. The terms and conditions stated that they will pay me all my moving costs, 2 cars we had, one for me and my wife, and the children, all the costs they will bear, which they complied with, no problem. Since I was a junior, I started at the lowest level, salary. But I continued to receive every 6 months a merit increase, the last of which was paid me on or about August 12. and I was fired after giving me a merit increase of $5,000 and a fully satisfactory job performance. I was abruptly fired. Why? The company had offered 1,500 offers that included 60 employees from Michigan Bell, 3 years salary as a what is called MIP, Management Income Protection Plan benefit, but not to me. They started with 35,000. I said I don't want it. They raised to 45,000 after calling me and my then wife Cicely to the Royal Plaza Hotel in Disney World. And when I refused to take it, he said, "We will give you 10 minutes to consider. Let me know when I come back." He went for a break and came back. And when I said to him, "Sir, we don't want the money. I got 4 children, young, aged 3, 7, 12, and 9. He fired me without a cause. Fired me in violation of all the laws. The employer is bound by Federal Contractor Complaints requirements, IRS Regulation 10-4, older workers laws, because I was over the age of 40 at the time when I was fired. So I went through the procedure. Now, why I wanted to say this background was the employer deployed every kind of conceivable fraud. How the fraud was committed, I wanted to let you know that. The defendants hired a lawyer. His name is Peter Wolf Sr. You will see him here. He is a smart guy. So what he did was, he selected a woman who was the trial judge, John Reed's law clerk. The purpose was designed to influence the judge not to conduct a trial. My counsel from Chicago by the name Syriac D. Kaplan had filed an amended complaint. I had filed the initial complaint. He filed an amended complaint which sought for ADA violation, Title VII violation, breaches of agreement, everything. It is on my complaint. Now, I had no option. In the meantime, my counsel was required to answer certain interrogatories or requests to admit numbering 1,300, which is not the normal procedure in a trial, before the trial. So they tried to, he answered the questionnaire. Then they tried to woo him by offering him a judicial position in Chicago, Cook County, which he declined in my presence. Then they deployed every tactics under the sun. They tried to give him some cases which he declined. It's all tactics of the corporation. Since I couldn't afford to pay the guy because my wife had filed a petition for a divorce. It's not her fault. So everything I had, all my earthly possession, which was around 100,000, 1 lakh of dollars, which was in stocks and shares, I gave it to her, the home, matrimonial home. We had a nice house with a swimming pool and everything, fully air conditioned and heated house. Everything was given to my wife. Then I got married, second time, and that didn't last more than a year because the woman whom I married, she wanted to come to America. That was her mission. I don't want to blame her. I have son from her. He is a Jewish doctor. He graduated from the Hastings Law School. Our relationship is strained. He got married on the 22nd June. He didn't even invite me. Even if he had invited and sent me a ticket, I can't travel because I have problem with my legs. My legs swelling up. We tried everything. I have people massaging me, maybe different people, different days, but still I have the problem. I don't want to show you my leg. Now, why I wanted to say all the story is how my employer treated me. Now, under the laws in the United States, you are required to pay into the Social Security a certain percentage of your salary. The employer is required to collect it and give it to the SSA Gov. So whatever you get in turn is a retirement pension when you retire. In my case, I had paid into the system for 8 years when I was illegally fired. So the question for consideration by the court was whether I was fired illegally or I quit the job. That's the preliminary question. The employer asserted, contrary to all the evidence, I quit the job on my own. So they even refused to give a certification to the local unemployment office that they didn't fire, I quit the job. So prevented me from getting the meager unemployment allowance every week you are supposed to get. The tactics. Folks, this case, you have to understand the crux, the name of the game. When this case was going on, AT&T, the corporation, and the Michigan Bell, they schemed. They entered into a conspiracy. Under the scheme, they wanted me to tender back the money. They paid me. I was supposed to sign a release under duress, coercion, and through fraud because I had no other means except to sign a release to get the money which they offered me. So their contention was I quit the job rather than admitting they fired me. There are two reasons. One, they don't want to suffer the humiliation. We went on a picket in front of the AT&T, me, my children, my father. We picketed there. It was on primetime television and every newspaper. It was in the Sentinel, Channel 2, I don't know what Channel 2 then was because it is now 40, 50 years. And I tried to get it and the company said we don't have a record. I don't know why they don't have. So what I'm saying is, I was forced to sign a release to feed my children and my wife and my father. My father returned back to India. He had a return ticket. I took a flight to Detroit and going to all over the country, taking an unlimited pass. I went to Michigan first on 24th August 1981. And having had no other option, I signed a release. The legal issue is whether the release signed by me is valid or not. If you signed under duress, coercion and fraud, it is invalid. There was a case decided by the US Supreme Court, a case called Alexander versus Gardner Denver, holding the year is 1974. The holding in that case was an employer can obtain a release from an employee provided it was given by the employee freely, voluntarily, and knowingly. Three phrases. The issue before the court is whether I signed the release freely, voluntarily, and knowingly, or under duress. AT&T and Michigan, well, they don't want it because they can't face the duress. Why? Who is telling the truth? A man with 4 children, dependent father and wife, 7 of us in the home. Did he quit the job, which is paying job, highly paying job? So they don't want it. They don't want a bench trial, they don't want a jury trial. And the woman they hired was the judge's former law clerk. Why they want to hire her? Because they wanted to have the court not to conduct a hearing and a trial. Her name is Ann C. Conway. According to the scheme, this woman started going to the judge, to his office, or to the court, and to her home, his home, vice versa. I smelled a rat. I didn't know at the time the relationship between Judge Reed and C. Conway. I notified the FBI. The FBI started, and also Chief Justice Honorable Warren Burger of the US Supreme Court at that time. As soon as Warren Burger got my complaint, he ordered Judge Reed to recuse and resign from the bench. Judge Reed recused. He is dead now. Then, under the scheme, they want to transfer the case to a judge of their choosing to do the same thing. So they sent it to Tampa before another judge by the name Terrell William Hodges. He won't conduct a hearing and trial. In the meantime, at Michigan Bell terminated another employee by the name Orville E. McDonald. He was a division manager 4 levels above me, paid him $12,000, and the court in Michigan, the state court, ruled McDonald must tender back the money first to the employer before he can sue them. As soon as defendants obtained a copy of this order, they moved Tampa court to dismiss my statutory claims, and he issued an order to dismiss the case without prejudice. The term is without prejudice. I was never given a copy of the order of the Michigan court, none of the moving papers. But understand the tricks. By law, before you conduct a hearing and trial, you are required to be served with the papers. Nothing was done. I have no idea. And I found so many McDonald's names similar to this one, confusing. So the one is the one I showed you, I'm going to show you. Judge Hodges issued the order, and he stated, directing the clerk to dismiss the case without prejudice. Technical term, without prejudice. The clerk of the court, Donald Brown, altered the court's order and entered into a judgment on the merits and awarded the defendants their cost and expenses. You have to understand. The reason was, if he had correctly issued the order to dismiss without prejudice, the case cannot go to the Circuit Court of Appeals. So all these were conspirators, co-conspirators, and the case went to the 11th Circuit, Under the rules, the Circuit Court of Appeals clerk is required to independently find out whether it is an appealable case or not. So he winked his eyes. Peter Senior, the counsel for the defendant, filed a motion and a jurisdictional statement. The jurisdictional statement, as you can see, he twisted a little bit everything to make it. Then the court, he has used the special terms. You will see that Peter Silver filed a false jurisdictional statement, and the 11th Circuit, after giving me and this woman Ansi Conway 5 minutes to argue, affirmed the altered order of the clerk of the court and issued mandate. You see the mandate. So, while this was going on here in Florida, 11th Circuit issued a mandate. Another action took place in New York. When I reached my 66th birthday in 2005, yes, I filed a claim for my ERISA benefits. ERISA means Employees Retirement Income Security Act. And that case, under the scheme, you pay the money, you talk to the clerk of the court, so he will say, yeah, we will have this judge. If you pay the other party, you get a different judge. That's all well-known secrets in the American system. If Trump was prosecuted, because they have schemed which judge should get it. Okay, that's the name of the game. So was the case of the President Biden's son, who was a drug addict. He was convicted for taking marijuana, then he went and marijuana or high drugs, then he went to buy a gun without disclosing he had a conviction. That's why he is convicted. All those who watch the proceedings, you watch CNN or NBC, whatever channel you wanted to watch, you can get the information. So, what the lawyer in New York did was, he called a lawyer, his name is Ralph Curtis Dawson. He's the chairman of the political party's, chairman of the political party, Democratic Party's Rules Committee at that time. So he called a new lawyer, just walked in. His name is Brian Wayne Tilker, and he was told to file a false affidavit. And based on the affidavit, the Cyber Court issued a summary judgment without giving me any discovery whatsoever. You will see the colloquy between me, Dawson, and the judge calling Dawson on the phone for a pre-motion conference. He's supposed to be present there. He didn't come. He doesn't want to come. He doesn't want to get embarrassed what he was doing. So this woman, Judge Seibert, she called Dawson on the phone. Mr. Dawson, where are you? Oh, Your Honor, I misread the docket. How he can misread the docket? Neither Dawson nor Tilker never ever came to the court. You have to understand? They were fixing everything using what is called the Charlie's Angels. There's a series, television series. You don't have to go, you pay the money, so the Charlie's Angels come and perform whatever they are ordered to do. Then this woman, Seibert, issued an order dismissing my Title VII claims. What she did was, she is a woman, a district judge. She has no authority to call the papers from Florida and Tampa to her court. She's not an appellate court judge. Okay? She had an order, 19-page order, making up stories. If you don't save or file any papers, how can you make a story? Okay? Now, when I got the order, I thought I had a hunch. I started researching, and I got it from the New York bar, the date of birth of Tilker. And he was only 2 years old, being born in May 1979, testifying his personal knowledge. My research showed 2-year-old Tilker was living at the time in New York. I executed or signed the release in Michigan, which is around 700 to 800 miles away from New York. Okay. Now, when I asked this woman, Seibert, to vacate her judgment, she says no. Tilker can do so while moving for summary judgment. You understand? It's all politics. 2-year-old Tilker submitting a false affidavit. You will see the affidavit of Tilker. And on the basis she grants a summary judgment. She has to study the law. Simply because she graduated many years ago doesn't mean what the Supreme Court has ruled. Supreme Court in 3 cases, what they call the trilogy of cases, held where there is a tribal issue of material facts exist in a case, no summary judgment. That's the holding of the Supreme Court of the United States of America. Folks, why I want to say all this is, this case went all the way. The 11th Circuit ruled by a 2-judge panel in a FRAP motion, a Federal Rules of Appeal Procedure motion. Their circuit can review a FRAP motion by 2 retired judges, while the entire 12 other Circuit Court of Appeals say in order to consider a FRAP 35 motion, it should be done by 3 active judges, not retired judges. So when there is a conflict between the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, where they require retired judges, and the other Circuit Court of Appeals say we need 3 active judges, there is a conflict between the 11th and 12 other Circuit Court of Appeals, and under Rule 10 of the Supreme Court rules, the Supreme Court has jurisdiction to grant a writ of mandamus or certiorari. Folks, to cut the long story short, the Supreme Court eventually granted me permission to file a writ of mandamus. Although the Supreme Court cited the case of a murderer who was filing brief, and that's the name of the case they are citing, I've got nothing to do with the murder or any criminality. I'm seeking my Title VII claims. So at the end of the paragraph, the court's order, it says on line 4 and 6, unless Mr. David pay the fee and submit the petition. Pursuant to the rules, you look at the court's order, you will find my name was not in the denied list. They got a list of cases where the court denied. My case is not there. My case is the granted list. I paid the fee to the clerk of the court, he won't take it. I sent it to the chief judge. He sent it to the next clerk, and the woman first returned that was a woman by the name Yam Blaylock. You will see her letter, you can see everything here, and then I sent it to the chief judge, John G. Roberts, requesting him to direct the clerk of the court to accept the fee. It went to Jeffrey Atkins. Jeffrey Atkins returned it again with the money. It's going back and forth. It went as many as 7 times. 7 times. So that is a contempt of court. If a clerk refused to abide by the court's order, is a moron. Nor he pretended he doesn't know what he is doing. He can read. The chief clerk kept quiet. His name is Scott S. Harris. So the present situation is my writ has gone. My requested the Department of Justice to investigate. They wrote me 3rd time. They have no jurisdiction to hear the case. Fraud, they should investigate. They said no. I submitted another petition for reconsideration, saying that when there is a clerk who is an employee of the court, has jurisdiction, and if they have committed fraud, that DOJ, Department of Injustice, or Injustice, I say it is injustice, they call Department of Justice, they are returning back and forth. So I don't know what is going to happen. Okay, that's one side. That's the main case going on 44 years. No case will remain more than a year at the most. In my case, there were over 4 times it went before the Supreme Court on different issues. One is a trial by jury. I don't want to go into all the thing. The final thing was the court issuing me a permission to file a writ of mandamus. Now I have taken the step to get the clerk of the court prosecuted. It's a contumacious conduct, dereliction of his duties. If he cannot read English, I'm not going to teach him how to read the court's order. It's clearly stated. Folks, that's one thing. Now the next day, I went to Atlanta, Georgia on 11/17/2023 to get a lawyer to represent, because lawyers are afraid of this corporation. They are mafia corporation. The Secretary of Labor at the time, Raymond J. Donovan, he was selected by President Reagan for his political contribution, I believe $6 million or $600,000. He was pleased to hire him as the Secretary of Labor. Once he came to occupy the office, he encouraged child labor, give them 50 cents an hour. Okay, cheap labor, they can't do it. So he did that, and the party who benefited most was AT&T. It's a long story, I don't want to go into. I'm coming back to my monthly pension. I went to Atlanta, I went to the SSA Gov. They gave me a printout showing my contribution to the MIP, to the management pension plan. And since then, they took 3 months pension. But I didn't go to USA after landing in Atlanta. I got sick I got admitted to a hospital. They didn't give me any care, although I had full coverage for hospitalization. That case, keeping quiet. Okay. Now, then what happened was this Social Security Administration started sending me checks directly, the US Treasury check. One of them came, I went to a bank, I deposited it. It takes 2 months before you get the money. Okay? So the first check is dated April 3, 24. You will see here, this is the bounce check. On the back, you will show that. And this check bounced, US Treasury check issued from the United States Treasury, check number check number issued from Kansas City, and the check number was 403396106019, dated April 3, 24, that got bounced. Then they kept sending checks instead of paying me online as required. Then they sent a check for $772 for March 124. That was sent to an address in New York where my wife was then visiting her grandson, and we deposited it after several weeks, and it's gone through 762. What they did was they took 3 months premium thinking I'm going to stay there. I didn't. So the amount I got was $762.70, my pension for 3/1/24. Then my regular pension was $1,531. That is the money I should have received in Indian rupees. That was sent to Kerala, Trivandrum, and a country code 852, which is Hawaii, Hong Kong, which was Hong Kong. So although it was sent to Hong Kong, that I forwarded to Baltimore, the main international operation, because I had no direction what to do. So that has not been credited so far. Then I got another check. I have sent it to the bank because they take more than 1 month to process it. So the next check is $1,531, dated 6/3/24, check number 403396959247. I haven't got the money yet. Okay, the bank take their own time. Then I got another check here. This is, I got it from the US Embassy in Chennai. Why this is going to different places, God alone knows. Okay, so this one I have sent it to Federal Benefit Unit. They haven't credited it. Next check, that's the 5/13/24 check for 1147. They have taken the money for the insurance, which I told them I don't need it. Then the last one is another check. This is another check, 1,147. It got bounced. Okay, so that's the story. Now, why I wanted to speak to you folks is it's a game of politics. Okay, there is no fairness in the system. What happened to my pension? No idea. Now I'm getting another letter from this, the so-called mules, and that says my address. Now President Biden had found 20 million or similar number of mules. What the job of the mule is not to input the correct information. They changed my name in the system. This is to get my third economic payment. Third economic payment, and on this one, this is dated June 28, 2024. And this says, first of all, you will watch my name. Okay, this is from the Internal Revenue Service. You got to close up, okay? It says my name, you have to understand. My name is Tala. Tala in Malayalam, head. Okay? My name is Tala, T-A-L-A. Middle initial correct. Last name Devi, D-A-V-I, Devi. Okay? Now the address T3671 G Raja Raj R-B-A-C-P. Okay? T-H-I-R-U-V. Okay? So everything is wrong. No name of the city. My name is wrong. No country name. Everything. This is all done by the mules. The mules brought in to get the votes. Okay? This is from the US Revenue Service, Internal Revenue Service. My damn employer was paying me salary for 8 years. They had not made a mistake. Now this employer, this sucker corporation, AT&T, is telling they don't have my record. How can a major corporation like AT&T pay you a salary for 8 years without a social security number? You understand? Two corporations, Michigan Bell employed me for over 6 years, 2.5 years by AT&T. Can they do that? You have to understand, these are tactics of the corporation. They are so ashamed. The two lawyers in New York, Ralph Curtis Dawson, is being investigated by the bar. That investigation is going on. As of last, I believe as of 2023, that's the last thing I have heard. They are trying to buy time until I die so they can avoid paying me $50 million, which is what I estimate I should be getting based on monthly pension paid to my co-workers. 1,500 of us, that includes 60 employees from Michigan Bell. So this name, which is not deliverable anywhere, and I spent the night before President Biden and ex-President Trump spoke, 2 hours on the phone. To pick up the phone takes 2 hours. How efficient the United States US Treasury, Internal Revenue Service, where I happened to work in the year 1982 in the appeal division in Miami. Okay? 2 hours to pick up the damn fucking phone. You understand? And when you get it, oh, we have no record. How do they get my record if this is the way they put my name, Devi? I'm not Devi. I'm not Tala. The address is not at all correct. No city, no state, no country. You understand? Folks, decide for yourself how Biden administration is going to end up. He is about to fall down. We saw him in another ceremony, he fell down. Is he going to rule this country? They should be ashamed, and the Supreme Court's orders must be fully enforced. Now you talk to the ESBS, they have got another thing, they wanted me to speak to them immediately. When you call them, nobody answers. Now we've got another woman who said she will be back on 2nd of July. So I'm waiting. So far, the US government owes me my pension, monthly pension, which is going back and forth between Federal Benefit Unit, US Embassy in India. They have a skeleton office. They send me one check, which I send it to them. It's going back and forth. I have no means. Okay? Hope the American people will understand what they preach is not what they are practicing. Okay? Thanks a lot. Folks, I want you to understand this. I have referred my human rights violation to the United Nations Commission, United Nations Commission, and they are investigating how far this kind of human rights violation is going on in America. I have no shame. Ask them, because if the Supreme Court's orders are not carried out by the 7 clerks, how people going to get justice in America? Folks, November 5 election is not far off. The media has already started commenting the President Biden will stand, or he will die, or what else, health reasons. He seemed to me like he was on high on something which his son was taking. Okay? So watch what is going to happen within the next few days. I hope I will be able to get them an ounce of justice. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to remember who is your friend, who represent the people. The Congress, we have good congressmen, senators, they make the laws. But if the executive branch of the government don't care about, then we have a major problem. Thank you. Bye-bye.